back to the fourth episode of Hawkeye. I'm your host Cian, and today on the panel Evan and Liam. To start today's show, we will talk you through our thoughts on all of the weekend's action, starting with the Leinster final with Dublin versus Meath. Dublin walking out as easy victors in the end, winning their 10th Leinster title in a row, with a scoreline of 321 to 9 points. What was your thoughts on the game?
It was Dublin again, just coming through, absolutely tearing through every team in Leinster, probably the best team in Ireland, of course, but Meath just couldn't get through their goals. They had a few chances at the start to get through, They were drawn at the start and then Dublin pulled away with 12 points to 2, and then Meath just couldn't get their goals that were vital against Kildare and the other teams. But, Dean Rock again with frees, he had 1-7 in the game, very clinical scorer. But Dublin did miss a lot of their shots. I think they had 57% scoring accuracy, and Dublin used to have 80% and 90%. So it's going down a bit, but I think they should be able to bring it back up in the next games.
Yeah, we were hammered really. Dublin missed 13 out of their 13 shots, which is a lot for them. As Ross said, it's a lot. It's strange for them to miss that many. Although I thought they were quite disciplined, they only gave away 3 frees from scoring position. And Meath only got 6 scores from play, which is really disappointing.
It was typical Dublin again. They were absolutely relentless, and I said last week that the only way Meath could beat them would be to score the goals they scored in their last 2 championship games, which they obviously did, only 9 points. Is very disappointing. I thought Dublin used the mark really well, especially at the start of the game. Paddy Small was fantastic, and Dean Rock again, he just shows ageless class with the 1-7 I think he scored.
Bit of a controversial red card at the end of that game. What did you think?
I thought it was so unnecessary. I thought whatever he said, just to be so far ahead, and now he's missing a game. So I don't know. I thought it's very avoidable for Dublin.
Next up in Munster, in the Munster final, we had Tipperary against Cork. Before this game, Tipperary unveiled their brand new commemorative jersey for Bloody Sunday. Tipperary ended their 85-year hunt for a Munster championship. What was your thoughts on the game?
Brilliant game, Tipperary to come through, and after Kerry beating, or Cork beating Kerry, as they were on a high and they were trying to beat them. But I think Cork were just looking too far into it. They were looking to see what they could do against Mayo, because they thought Tipperary was going to be a walkover. But with Colin O'Riordan coming back from the Sydney Swans, very good, very good for midfield. He was unbelievable. See his interview after the match, the passion he had for the game, and it was unreal to see Tip go through. Conor Sweeney, captain of Tip, scoring 7 and 4 from frees. Unbelievable, Conor Sweeney, one of the best forwards in Ireland at the moment. It's great to see Tipperary go through like that.
Yeah, it really was a long way. 1935 last time they won a Munster final, and it's been a long time, so they'll be delighted. Like Ross said, Conor Sweeney, big man for Tip, 7 scores. He really is outstanding at the moment. I think Cork just took the foot off the pedal, That's what lost them the game, and now Tip go on to play Mayo. I think Tip have it in them to beat Mayo.
Yeah, no, I agree with the lads. I thought, like Ross said, Conor Sweeney was absolutely fantastic and showed the leadership that they needed for the day. I think it was a lot of emotional that kind of gave them the strength and the power to go and beat a team like Cork. But I thought there was no leaders in the Cork team at all. I think that's definitely why Tip edged them at the end.
Finally in Ulster, we had Cavan against Donegal, where Cavan secured their first Ulster Championship in 23 years by performing a shock result of 113 to 12 points. What was your thoughts on it?
Again, it was a shock result really, but Cavan were always coming through the Ulster, trying to beat all the teams, a good young team coming through. Very good, very great team, Cavan. Donegal are just a bit poor, but they did win 83% of their kickouts, Donegal, compared to Cavan's 55. But it was a very intense game coming to the last few minutes. Conor Madden got the goal, They made every Cavan fan probably jumping up and down when they seen that, they knew they were through. Cavan did have a great game. Donegal just took their foot off pedal a bit, so it's great with my Cavan. I'm glad to see them through.
It's Cavan's first win since 1997. Late chance for Donegal, they hit the post. Could have maybe some things, but you never really know. Last week all the lads were saying Donegal were going to win. I myself predicted Cavan, so I was happy with that result, and Cavan now go on to play Dublin, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, like Kevin said, there's a weekend of unexpected results now. It was definitely up there with the best games of the weekend if the Cork Tipperary game didn't go ahead. But I thought Donegal they were completely off the mood and everything. The Keegan Brady's black card gave Donegal a chance to get back into the game, but they done well in that period, but then couldn't capitalise on any of that. Cavan again going down at half time. I think they were down half time in every game they played the championship this year. It just shows the mentality they have to win and to go ahead really well.
Do you think they have much chance against Dublin?
As Dublin are an unbelievable team, but Cavan, they are a great team, but I don't think they're at the standards yet. Dublin, I don't think they have the experience that Dublin have in these sort of situations. Dublin have been last All-Ireland semi-finals for years and years before this, and then Cavan haven't come up one in ages and ages. So, I think Dublin just beat them by experience and skill. They'd have them in the bag anyway. So I'll give it to Dublin.
Yeah,
I think if it was any other team now, they'd certainly get ahead, but Cavan certainly have a chance to get through, especially this championship. Seen a lot of strange games, but I just think Dublin are different this year. They've won all their games, such a wide margin in scores between all their games, and there's just too many options in that forward line. I just don't think Cavan will be able to compete with that as well.
Yeah, their squad depth is just too much on each team. That's our thoughts on last week's action. We'll be back after the break to discuss the managerial changes. Hi, hello and welcome back to Hawkeye. We brought in Mr. Jones to talk about the managerial changes for Louth and Antrim. Mickey Hart, as a Tyrone man, how did it feel to see Mickey Hart move on so quick?
It was brilliant. Obviously Mickey Hart got to step down, got all his recognised praise, etc. However, a bit shocked for all of Tyrone that Mickey Hart has actually accepted a job in Louth. Obviously we know Tyrone refused him his 1 year job, and I know that's what he really wanted, and he took it at risk, but now we sort of see why, because he's got a new 3-year deal with Louth under 20s and the senior management. So, and obviously he's brought along his management team in Gavin Devlin. So a lot of Tyrone people are very confused with how it's actually turned out. Don't know why. Obviously it'll be weird that Mickey Hart won't be managing them after again 30 years, but I've seen an interview from Conor Gormley, former Tyrone player, just saying that best thing if Mickey wants to keep going, this is brilliant for Louth. And as we know, the Leinster Championship needs a bit of competition. Louth were relegated to Division 4 this year, so Mickey's going to be sorry, I don't think he's ever competed in Division 4, so it'll be a new experience for him, some new teams as well. I know obviously he'll have to play London, which is a big shock as well, so yeah.
I agree with Mr. Jones now. I think it's a big shock for all of Tyrone, but I think a manager like that, his quality, he said last week, he's up there with Jim Gavin's of the game. And I think he's always looking for a challenge, and Louth is definitely challenging. Obviously Leinster are a very competitive province, and I think he'll definitely bring them up in a group team.
yeah, really didn't take him long to get back into managing. I think it was only 2-3 weeks, and now he's back managing the Louth under 21 team. So be interested to see what he does with them.
Would you as a Tyrone man be happy to see him do well at Louth?
Oh yeah, of course, we're always happy, like with it be Racing McMillan, who was with Fermanagh. Delighted to see Fermanagh, and we want to see them compete. Obviously Leinster is a one-horse race, so anyone we can bring it a bit closer, and obviously Louth last Leinster finals 2010 where a Tyrone man denied them the goal, where Joe Sheridan from Meath threw the ball over the line and a Tyrone man was referee, gave the goal to Meath, and Meath won Leinster. So that was the last time another team won Leinster apart from Dublin. So look, Louth, they have a couple of good players, they've got a very, very good forward, and if anything, we've seen this year that it doesn't matter if you're losing 3 teams. We've seen Cavan beat Donegal, Tipperary beating Cork, big shocks throughout the year, so fingers crossed he may be able to do something.
I think he's the missing piece now for the Louth team. Like Mr. Jones said, he's they're definitely the calibre of players to even bring him up a division or two. But I think he definitely is like the missing piece of the jigsaw now for Louth, and he might do wonders for them.
It's a big boost to the youth as well, because then a lot of people will see, oh, Mickey Hart is our manager now, maybe we'll do. You've seen with Westmeath when Paddy O'Shea came in 2004, Mick O'Dwyer's took teams like Wicklow, and it's got a whole new breed of people coming through actually wanting to play football for them.
Secondly, we saw former Tyrone star Enda McGinley move on to Antrim for management. What are your thoughts on that?
Interesting. Lenny Harbinson actually had a really good run before lockdown. In Antrim, we actually played against Antrim for London myself, and they only beat us by a point, but they actually were going really well. They were there for promotion until they actually got hammered by Wicklow, 7 goals they conceded against Wicklow. Brilliant opportunity for him. He has been managing the club in Tyrone, got them to 2 Tyrone Championship semi-finals. Big step up now into inter-county, but fingers crossed he can actually do something again. For me, it's great to see former Tyrone players now actually stepping up, and you never know, in a few years he could be coming back for Tyrone.
Yeah, he played under Mickey Hart and we really did, so we'll have a few, he'll have experience playing under a manager like Mickey Hart, so he might bring some of his tactics to the Antrim team. See.
Yeah, no, I agree with the lads, but I think there is a huge difference between inter-county players or managing at an inter-county level and then managing at a club level or playing at a club level. And obviously it'd be different just playing the game and managing the game, but obviously he's new, he's just in, and we'll see if he can bring Antrim up the ranks.
Obviously the gap is still there for the Tyrone job. They haven't. I know the board were meeting last night to decide a new manager, so you never know. There are a number of names in it. Jim McGuinness's name has been put forward again, whether he's interested or not, or it's just a rumour. But all is on favour is Fergal Logan, who coached them to an All-Ireland under 21 All-Ireland in 2015 against that Tipperary team that we seen win Munster.
Who would you be happy with as manager? So who do you want to see?
I think most Tyrone generally always go for home. They don't ever go shopping outside. They keep it local. You have a lot of good players, former players like Collie Holmes, for example, could step up as well because of especially he won the championship at Dungannon this year, big underdog, and he's been very heavily involved with underage. So I think I'd be happy with anyone local, because obviously I think Tyrone respond best to that.
I think it's important as well, what happens now for Tyrone, whether they go forward in the future or go back. I think this is like the rebuild now when such a big name leaves the club, and I think the new manager role now is definitely important now for the game.
Yeah, you see like Armagh in the 2000s where Joe Kiernan brought them up. They were down at the top table, and as soon as he left in 2007, Armagh went back down to Division 3. They've Stafford Rooney McGeaney's got them back up to Division 1 this year. They've really struggled, so it has to be handled
Yeah, it
correctly.
just shows the influence they have on the team and players.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back after the break to talk about all the women's football from the weekend.
Hello and welcome back to Hawkeye. We're going to be discussing the ladies' football here with me Kiva and Siobhan. We're going to continue back on with the ladies' football. Alright, 2 games of the weekend, girls, both in the junior. The first one was Fermanagh Limerick. Fermanagh actually shock win 4-10 4-3. Emer Smith on form. I remember last year they beat London in the semi-final and went on to lose against Louth, so it's a second attempt for Johnny Gardy and his men.
Yeah, Fermanagh were a very strong side, scoring 2-3 before Limerick even decided to wake up and play. So it took Limerick 11 minutes to get their first score, so it was a bit disappointing for them. And after 15 minutes, Fermanagh were leading by 4-3 to just a point. So it just goes to show it was a kind of unmatched side. So.
Right, and Siobhan, did you see that match as well?
Yeah, as you said, Emer Smith scored 2 saves. And that was a really impressive performance from her. Fermanagh, they kind of let it slip up in the second half, letting Limerick in. That could just be their downfall for the final, but altogether Fermanagh put a good performance up.
Yeah, massive win against it, especially Limerick just came down from intermediate last year, decided to come down, along with Wicklow, who we'll talk about in a second, but massive moral victory. Limerick obviously very, very strong, but a very young team at the minute. I know they're rebuilding. And on to the other junior game, it was Antrim and Wicklow. Very, very high scoring. Antrim 3-10, Wicklow 7-11.
Yeah, before half-time, Wicklow managed to score 3 goals to put themselves clear of Antrim. So midfielder, Maeve Deeney scoring 2-1 for their side. So it was a great performance from them.
Yeah, Wicklow's full forward line that scored 6-8 altogether. You don't really see that with most teams, your full forward line, but once they got the ball in, they were they got scores anyway from it, with Clodagh Fox scoring 3 goals for Wicklow as well.
Yeah, there's no stopping it once they're in there.
Once they got going. Yeah, a massive again for Wicklow. Antrim obviously came from, they were very poor last year, didn't even qualify for the semi-finals, have actually rebuilt under the new manager, Damien McConnell, so I know again they have a very young team, a couple of really strong players there, so it's really good to see. Wicklow again, down from intermediate, hopefully will be bouncing back up, but I think Fermanagh will be trying as much as they can in order to try and stop that there. That game will be in a couple of weeks, and we'll review that going forward. Now, looking forward to the games that are actually taking part this weekend. Alright, big one in the senior semi-final, Armagh v Dublin and Breffni. What are we thinking?
Well, Armagh are a great young team, you know, they have so much talent and they have an amazing defence. We've seen the other game, they put up such a great defence. I can see them going through really. Amy Mackin, if she puts on her top performance, she's a key player for them to their victory as well. So.
Very much, she's a shoe-in for player of the year at the minute, the way the amount of goals she's scoring as well.
Yeah, as Kay was saying, Amy Mackin returning from her injury, and with Armagh's ability and their work rate, and just all together, that their team has come together, even over against Mayo, they were favourites. Mayo in that game, but as I said, Armagh thought they come up on top and they did. So I think this will surprise yet again, beat Dublin.
Their ability to score. So what are we thinking, Siobhan? Armagh or Dublin?
I think Armagh.
You're going to go for Armagh against All-Ireland champions, yeah?
Yeah,
Keelan?
I'm going to hand it to Armagh.
I'm gonna give Armagh.
I think they could make them around.
As much as I know my own mother's from Armagh, but I don't think I can even back them. I think Dublin are far too strong. They've probably been in third gear, and they'll have a plan for Amy Mackin in order to try and shut her out.
I just think their defence is very strong. Like, you could see they had a natural kind of way of tracking back and everything. That was their first shot after a score against them. So.
Alright, fair enough. Sure, we'll see next week. We'll review it back next week. And also the intermediate semi-finals. Okay, so our next door neighbour is Westmeath. What do you think? How are you guys going to play out?
I think it's going to be a tight game between both of them, but I'll have to edge it more to Westmeath after their game against Louth. The way they can just switch up their play. Like in the second half, you can see how they changed it up and they got goals straight away from it. So I'm going to have to give it to Westmeath.
Kiva?
Yeah, that's being played at home in Pierce Park actually, and they're both neighbouring teams. So Westmeath are a fantastic young team, and they have 2 consecutive wins under their belt. So I'd love to see them progress to a final really, because they're so close to home. The Rossies are a strong side, and it'll be a very match game I think. But my players to watch will be Ciara Blundell for Westmeath. She's a great footballer and it's very good skill. So yeah, I'd love to see Westmeath get their 3rd win and progress to a final.
Yeah, she's also a Lomans woman, so yeah, fingers crossed. Westmeath obviously Division 1 last year, decided to drop down. They're still in the Division 1 league, so they're assuming they are favourites, so I wonder if they'll be able to deal with that. So yeah, I'm going to say Westmeath as well. I think that's clear cut. And then finally, the other semi-final is Meath and Clare. So who do you think, yours?
Well, Meath are a very powerful team again. You know, once they're let near the goals, there's no stopping them from there. So Stacey Grimes is a really standout player for them, and she's one to watch, and she's dangerous when she has the ball. There's no stopping her really, so she will drive for the net. So that's one to watch definitely.
Yeah, in Clare's last game they got 7 goals, I think it was against Sligo. But I think coming up against Meath with Monica McGurk and goals and All-Star there last year, I think Meath will just dominate that game.
Okay, so we're both going for Meath. Well, obviously Meath are obviously coming down from senior again. Rebuilding, as you say, Clare got 7 goals against Sligo. I think I'm going to have to go for, I'll go against you. I'll go for Clare. See a bit of a shock, so we're looking for a Westmeath Clare final. Alright, thank you very much, girls. We'll be back next week to obviously see how we get on, and actually look forward to previewing the All-Ireland Junior final between Fermanagh and Wicklow. Alright, thanks a million folks. All the best.